My name is Tong Yunyin. I'm the curator of Asian art. Let's get started. So some of you might be wondering, what is slow art? So this is a program we just introduced a few weeks ago that aims to encourage a slow but more in-depth look at artworks. So every other Saturday, we will choose a few thematically connected objects, either on display or in storage in the museum, and decipher the hidden meanings of some details that sometimes might be overlooked during your visit. So today our topic is longevity. The pursuit of longevity has played a remarkably prominent role in Chinese art and culture. The reasons are twofold. First, Confucianism placed great value on honoring and respecting elders in traditional China. The elderly are always at the center of a family and the society, and care for the elderly has become an important virtue in the family through filial piety throughout Chinese history. And the second reason for the preoccupation with long life is the centuries-long individual's search for immortality, an idea that later became one of the core practices of Taoism in China. So in the following session, we will take closer looks at 6 carvings that all have decorative motifs to convey a good wish of a long and prosperous life. The first objects we are looking here is a coral carving of Li Tieguai. That's his name. In English, it means Li with the iron crutch. Li Tieguai is one of the 8 immortals of Taoism. He is regarded as a divine saint and worshipped as the god of longevity in China. The crutch, tangled beard, and scrawny chest become the recognizable features of his image in both literature and visual art. On this carving, to reveal Li Tieguai's identity, the artist cleverly directs the viewer's look onto his crutch by placing the strings of his bamboo hat over here and his right hand toward the crutch and his right foot stepping directly on the crutch. Li Tieguai turns his head backwards with his mouth opening as if he was talking to someone behind him. On the lower part of the carving here, we see the corals and shells beneath him, which suggests this is an ocean scene. This is an indication of the most widely known legendary story when Li Tieguai crossed the sea with the rest of the 8 immortals. His crutch, as the mythology tells, ferries him through the journey. And the detailed image here on the left corner, we can see the clouds above his head, and the waves behind him are rendered in curvilinear forms to bring a sense of motion to the steel carving. On the top of the carving, amidst the clouds, here, we can see a pair of bats. Bats are the auspicious symbols of happiness in Chinese art. In addition to religious figures as symbols of immortality, plants, birds, animals, even Chinese characters are made into decorative motifs to symbolize longevity. The next pair of objects are these 2 pendants with decorations of Lingchi fungus. Lingchi is a type of woody fungus, usually dark in color with a lacquer-like sheen. Because it keeps its shape forever, so the Chinese associate it with longevity and immortality. Throughout the ages, the Chinese searched for the fungus of immortality, which is fairly common in the south part of China, but rare in the north. The Lingchi motif is found in every media of Chinese art. Sometimes it appears by itself. Sometimes it is combined with other auspicious decorations to form multi-layered blessings. And this snappery pendant to the right, we see a few branches of Lingchi fungi put in a bamboo basket and are presented as a still painting of a bouquet. On the other pendant, a boy is holding a Lingchi in his left hand, as if he just collected this Lingchi and is going to present it to someone. In traditional China, this type of pendants was normally attached with a piece of silk string and hung from one's waist. It became a very popular accessory for scholars and court ladies. The peach is another recurring motif to represent longevity. It is also one of the most popular decorations in Chinese art. Peach's connection with long life originated from the legendary story of the Queen Mother of the West, who is a legendary queen of the Western paradise in Chinese history. According to the story, the Queen Mother of the West had a peach orchard. Her peach trees bloomed every 3,000 years, and their fruit took another 3,000 years to ripen. Eating her peach will guarantee one's immortality. On this carving here, this is a blow-up detail of the carving on the right. So Guan Yin, a Buddhist deity of compassion, stands in front of a peach tree. She slightly turns her head leftwards as if she's smelling the fruit above the left shoulder. We can see the peach over here, the branch behind her. And the other carving, like this lady to the left, this is a detailed image. We see a cat resting on the right hand of the lady. The cat is a symbol of longevity as well. That's because its name in Chinese is Mao, which is similar in sound to the Chinese character representing the age of 70. In traditional China, it was considered a very old age. Therefore, a cat always represents a wish that the recipient lives to the ripe old age of 70. So this pair of carving are most likely to be birthday gift to some Buddhists. So the next object I'm going to introduce is a vase. In comparison with the other carvings we have seen today, this one looks much simpler and plain in terms of the decoration at first glance. But if you get closer and identify the decorations, you will see many Chinese characters carved in thin lines on the front, the back, and on both sides. Although they look different from each other, like you can tell from the blow-up detail image to your right, all these carved characters are actually one character, which means longevity. In Chinese, it's shou. Writing the character for longevity in 100 different forms has a very long tradition in Chinese art. The earliest example is dated 1229. In the following centuries, this Chinese character in varied forms is seen in many other artworks. So we can see like on the front and on the side, it's all covered by different forms of the same character. So the last artwork we are going to look at is a perfect example to see the rich symbols to wish someone a long and prosperous life, and also to wrap up our talk today. This 10-panel Imperial Screen made in 1791 for Emperor Qianlong's 80th birthday shows many motifs that are associated with the idea of longevity. Because we are under a time constraint, I will only give you 2 examples of some of the motifs on panel, the 4th panel and the last panel. This one here, a pair of cranes standing underneath a pine tree. This is the motifs on the 4th panel. The crane is believed to live to a ripe old age. It becomes a symbol of long life in China. On many artworks, cranes are always shown together with pine trees. The pine tree is evergreen even in winter times. It is regarded as a symbol of strength and a projection of the virtue to overcome all adversities. So this combination, crane and pine tree, become a very popular design to represent the best wishes for a long life. So another symbol of longevity on this imperial screen is a paradise flycatcher. You may see it on the last panel of this screen. The Chinese name of this bird is 寿带鸟, or a sash bird, which is a description of the bird's long ribbon-like tail. The Chinese name is a homophone for the term shou, longevity. So this type of wordplay is fairly common and enjoys a long tradition in Chinese culture. Of superb quality and grace, the carving of the flora and bird pieces is vigorous and filled with charming details. It is not hard to imagine how marvelous this work would have been when it was displayed within the original imperial palace at a birthday celebration. So this is all the artworks we are going to show for today's Slow Art Saturday. So now I'm going to open the floor for questions.
I have a few questions.
Okay, great.
All right. So Bonnie asked, is 70 still considered a special birthday in modern Chinese culture?
70 is still considered a very old age. So if someone reached the age of 70, it's supposed to be a very good auspicious age. But normally in traditional China, 60 is more like a milestone for one's life, because in China, they have this circle of 60 years. So it means like you have reached a full circle of your life and started another circle. So 60 is normally like the very important age to celebrate, but still 70 is another great age as well, because, you know, it's still a very old age in these days. Thank you.
All right. And then Aurora asks, in regards to the symbolism of the peach, what are some of the other deeper meanings specific to the peach and why?
I think peach is mostly because the major meaning of peach is associations with longevity, long life, or immortality. That's because the story I mentioned, because of it is a fruit in the orchard of the Western, the mother of the Western paradise. And it's also being incorporated, the peach, the motif being incorporated repeatedly in Chinese literature. If you are familiar with the Monkey King story, you may know that the Monkey King was punished by the god because he destroyed the queen's banquet to entertain all these immortals with her peaches. So this is another popular story about the peach, and I think mostly it's related to longevity and immortality.
Great. All right. And then another question again from Bonnie is, and I'm sorry, I will butcher this, is Lingchi fungus the same fungus as reishi? R-E-I-S-H-I.
I'm not quite sure what reishi you refer to, But a Lingchi fungus is a particular type of woody fungus. You will find it in nature world, and it maintains this kind of very hard and solid shape and the color, the sheen color. So it makes the Chinese people think, oh, it's never changed. So it means it could help you to reach into like a immortal status. I don't quite get what the ratio you refer to, so I don't really know the connection between these two. Yeah,
If you want to, Bonnie, get back to me if you know,
yeah,
and then I
right.
can pass that on. We have a few more questions.
Mhm.
Michelle asks, would these images of longevity be seen in artifacts from the Golden Age in China, or are they more closely tied to the 13th century?
Oh, I think that's a very good question. And these, the motifs I have introduced today, all of them has been recurring motifs in Chinese culture and art. So you can see it in many artworks or artifacts in traditional China from the early like 16th or 13th century, even earlier, like the 6th, 5th century, and all the way to present times to today. Today, they are still very popular, and you can see lots of merchandise made with this motif decorations to symbolize longevity. And these are very popular things to give for someone's birthday.
Great, thank you. And then I have a question from Anne,
Okay.
who is actually an employee here at the museum. She asks, are any of these longevity symbols represented in gift shop items?
Oh, that's a wonderful question. I think we do have some objects with the decorations like Lingchi, and also with the bat, it's another symbol of happiness as well. I'm sure we have some jewelries and carvings that carry this type of motifs. So welcome to our museum shop to check it out.
And then Bonnie did send me a link to the fungus she was referring to. It's
Okay.
a polypore fungus, so a bracket fungus. It's red varnished and kidney shaped. And so it's the kind, it looks like the kind that kind of grows on like the sides of dead logs. So not like a traditional mushroom looking kind, but so I'll pass that on, Bonnie. She says it's an important medicinal mushroom,
Oh,
according
okay.
to science. So yeah, I personally am against mushrooms, so I don't know a whole lot about them. But yeah, we'll talk about that, and then we'll reach out to you, Bonnie, with some more information about that.
Yeah.
And then another question is, how did the Lizadra Museum get the Qianlong screen? So I'm assuming that you are referring to the Imperial Screen, Lewis. And that was actually sold at auction from the World's Fair. It had been on display at the World's Fair in San Francisco, I believe,
Yes.
and it ended up going up for auction, and Mr. Lozadro was one of the bidders and ended up winning. So, yeah, it was relinquished by the Chinese government, and after its display at the World's Fair, is my understanding.
Yeah, that's correct. And it was on display in the 1939 San Francisco World Fair. And after that, it stayed in the US. And that's how the museum purchased it, acquired this. Yeah.
And if you haven't seen it since its renovation from the old location, you should definitely get in at some point when we're open again and check it out, because it's so much more beautiful and you can actually see the backside of it. So
Yeah. Okay, so thank you so much again for spending this Saturday afternoon with us. So we look forward to seeing you again in our next Slow Art Saturday program on December 5th. So the topic of our next talk will be symbolism in Chinese art. Stay tuned and see you next time. Bye-bye.